Last someone some trash delay.
Okay, so I'd like to be with Trash Dele, hello in Tibetan.
Some ones jaro at any thing also jocha the Janchins they I think will jare.
Yes, so today's topic is going to be about cherishing others.
Tate ngamanga so ran zindange matal ranchins they at the corleta, Tata Zeni ranchins in the machon at the college jare, telling Trinity that ring also ranchins and the Janchins and Chabakari or the Sichetre, the Rovashaya.
Yeah, so last class was about self-cherishing and also like the way to reduce this kind of sense of self-cherishing mind by searching for the self. So today out of this, like there is the self-cherishing mind, the self-cherishing and the other cherishing. So out of these two, today we are going to talk about other cherishing.
That's what in that get on the non choose at carriers what in also draw me some mal that deacon dom get a dinner mundo pashik by sonsa. Not all decicate and the chaloco checking when you decicate of Chita, non solo get you gani checicate on Neo Pinami, non solo get you down when you decicate on the re. Decicate what on the re.
Yes, so according to Buddhism, so not only according to Buddhism in general, so like everyone wants happiness and no one wants suffering. So in order to gain happiness, so we can say that there are like two of different methods. One is by kind of gathering conditions from the outside or like kind of external condition in order to gain happiness. And the other one is by kind of transforming the way that we are thinking. So now we are going to present it by the way to transform the way that we are thinking, how to gain happiness.
That's what any chaloco checking going out so decicate on the Nazo Nabjere. Pamjo ke check-in down, Kori ke check-in data, Mataman Barkandrea Airport and Richona, Deki on get a hackoning at Samatingola, Caligap de Gore.
Yes, so about the first kind of method, kind of gaining happiness from the outer conditions, whether it means like from the environment or by financial situation or by having good connections. So this is something that we are familiar with, this kind of method, and basically we are struggling and working hard to gaining happiness by this kind of method, by the external conditions.
Last year, Nalo Cosaulo, Guani Telepa, Deki Chaki Training, the Mamanchi Zachik, Telesaulo Matani, Nalo Cosaulo, the Korokaina Tanja Fiore. Opportunity or Mari, Korokan.
Yes, so, but if you are talking about the kind of the method by transforming our mind, gaining happiness by transforming our mind, so this is something that we are not so aware of.
Lasso non lo saulo dopo ya poi immagino ce lo check-in zone de ki on atanga so ha ko gorita ce lo check-in zo ga ti so ti kyoni me ke changrore kari chakko rezena pena nga so panjon ri ke so so ya ta che yo na ta tili jan chikle tili ya chi oti tangal tili ya chi ko ngal te mendu sam ani chin khori ke pon ri na ta tili ke po chin ro sa yo kire sam ni yo tili do pa che rin ro ani tanda mutso parkin jewat yatache yo na ya tanda jing jik mandu san do pa de cheri cherin ro ti chelo ko panjok tang gori tang mi gen jewa la so pan jya ni ma chi la men ni kang chang chang na za yong gore.
Yes, but however, if you are going through the method of kind of trying to gain happiness from the external conditions, so what's going to happen is that it doesn't matter like what are the external conditions actually, because even if there is like we have like kind of good environment, so we'll still kind of have the thought that it can be a bit better, like that it can be a bit more. And if we have like good connection with people, so we'll also think that like something is not right or like it can be a bit better in terms of like that the external conditions are always not enough. So eventually what is going to happen is that even if the external conditions are good, so kind of our desire and our wish is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and there is not going to be a day in which we say like now it is okay, like now I have enough, like with regards to the external conditions that can give me happiness.
So sonta nang saulo te ya po chi chon de chi nang saulo te ta chelo kon te ki ni te cha ya po chi chon na ni nga so ka ti na de kin ra wo chi mu ka nge me yong wa te na chu te che chu she go re ke ta ni che na chelo ko cha kin de so go da ko ta na chu chi tok pan thom bun ra te ri le na ni chelo ko cha kin mo ko ni nang gom ra te ri kyang ba de ke che tum so she go re ma to ma chu man de chi na chelo ko cha kin de so go ya yin ba re ta yin na yo nang saulo te ta chelo cha kin ni te chen cho yo ta na lo ni zo go re ma to chelo kyang ba ni re ma re. Raison, maçon.
That is what. Okay, so I'll try to translate. So, yeah, like, yeah, English again.
tanda chalo ko chakin de la na lo ko savlo cha ya ko chi tre ma thon na chalo ko kani kan shor son sa so so savlo de chon de ya ga chi tande ni chi kan du sam ni savlo chon de ya po chi che to gore savlo chon de zena ha ko mo savlo chon de ya po chi che to na chalo ko chakin da ko ni chan chon ni de ni che po yung gore
Okay, so but if you are able to kind of to control our mind, so the kind of the inner mind and the other conditions can fit to each other.
la so tani tani
The-
la
שאלה, אם כולם פה דוברי עברית והם יודעים הינדי, אז אתה יכול לתרגם תכלס לעברית אם זה...
No, but they don't know
הם לא
Tibetan.
יודעים הינדו?
They don't know Tibetan. I'm
Hello, sorry
translating
for
from
being
Tibetan.
late.
It's okay. Please sit down. Niitä kelsikonomia, niitä fokishingia, nää karsinen nät teinjitogne. Te
ni
kitshige.
inji che to mar
Reina te quando san fa ci siamo nati flutogne shena, yagre san.
ah
Inante kom.
re la so la
Va yeah, but it's
gonda
not
te
like
re
that.
samaria na son dam dai ora
Yeah, we are here like kind of different people, so
Ngātani rītani, tātiri kī jōjin rātar ngā tsō rāng chīnzin dā zhāng chīnzin nī tī shepa rāng chīnzin zī na ngā tsō hā mū kō kī o mā rī sōsō mbājik tsāwa chīmbu chayā tar rī zhāng chīnzin tāla tā tsō tī na zhāng kā dēdik lūngē kā nī tā zhāng kā dēdik kā zī dūngā lūngē kā ngī nī jē tāng dewa lūngī kā ngī tānda chāmbā zī ā tar rī mdōr dī na chām sē tar rī zhāng na chām sē yo na zhāng chīnzin yo pā rī sōng zā wā tēnyi rāng chīnzin dā zhāng chīnzin dā tēnī rō chī ngōn zī chē gī wā rī
yeah, so today our topic is going to be about the other cherishing mind. And if we are talking about the self-cherishing mind, so this is something that we are all familiar with, kind of to strive for our own happiness alone. If we are talking about the other cherishing mind, it means that we are kind of taking care or like taking responsibility about the happiness and the suffering of others. So if we are talking about taking responsibility about the suffering of others, it means that we are generating a sense of compassion. And if we are talking about taking responsibility and care about the happiness of others, it means that we are generating a sense of love, loving kindness. So this is what it means by self-cherishing mind and other cherishing mind.
So tani tanda laman chofa nang tani chik song yore ranya chinzi gupa kanyi gu manab chinzi yote kanyi zhe ziya tani chik song re taji zha che ya ta ranya chinzi che de ya ta kar chan ro gri zina tani nyota kyang kyang le yungu de gupa kanyi gu zi ti nyota kyang kyang ma to tel tani deki yungu ma ri se so sa ranya chinzi we na rang le yak po yo ma ri ze wore ma to yin chik men chik pa shok le pa shok ba chik che te yin ba yo ma rang chinzi che ya ta so su so so le rang chinzi che na men chik re ze de ya ta Sosol mandri lab de wore te hako gondu.
Yes, so we're going now to we're going now to talk about this topic based on some verse from a text which is called Offering to the Gurus. And this text says the following verse: Cherishing myself is the doorway to all loss, while cherishing my mothers is the foundation of all qualities. So when we are saying cherishing myself is the doorway to all loss, basically what we mean is that cherishing myself just brings us only problems, like it brings us nothing but problems. So when we are saying like that cherishing myself, so we should understand it, cherishing myself is the doorway to all loss, we should understand it, this is doorway to all loss, like from our perspective, like it brings problems to us, like of course that, like we can think that it brings problem to other people, but in this case, like we should think that this kind of self-cherishing mind, mainly it brings problems to ourselves.
Laso tani rani chinza chena kyong kare yore zidi tati koni nga tsu linga yasam gungoni chik juwa yin pe na liki goni rang chinza chena kyong kare yore zina pe na rang chinza chewa la teni jang tse so le name chegre tse so le name chewa la teni mi jang tse so ta pa name cheni so mo mo chegre name cheni
Yeah, okay, so what kind of problems it gives to us? So we can think about these problems like by our three doors. Like three doors, we mean like the body, speech, and mind. So if you're talking about the door of the body, like the physical activities that we are doing, so if we have like strong sense of self-cherishing mind, so we can really kind of neglect or to like to not regard as important others' life and so forth. So this is the first thing.
Last what any song that what you change on and tell young Gary or is it not you na su tell and real some draw sugar in real chick that say chamal nan song that what any or is a worry that you look sharing at so tani ton yo mari and you battle so momboche then you send the so set on the war is or tell gentle and real the achi share and some battle double real the achi share or it and yin barry general no crazy. Tan sochen ke te solo no ai en bare no pa yo son sa tini son sa tel soche pa chil china kyon sum shere kyon ni te so solo no pa ta chik ta jala no pa kyon sum tam ba shure.
Okay, yeah, so since we have we don't regard other lives as important, so we can eventually also kill them, like other sentient beings. So what kind of results can come out of this kind of action, like by generating this self-cherishing mind and by the physical action, like to kill other people because we don't regard them as important, kill other people or other sentient beings. So there are 3 results that we can refer to when we talk about this. The 2 first results are talking about the faults and the problems that will come to us, and the last result is talking about the problems that are going to come to other people. So the first 2 results, we can call them the ripened result and result which is similar to the cause. So the ripened result is that if we are talking from the Buddhist perspective, is that we are going to get rebirth in lower realms. But since this is from the Buddhist perspective, kind of from a religious perspective, so we are not going to elaborate about it so much now. The second kind of result is that result which is similar to its cause. So if you are talking about result which is similar to its cause, so by killing others, so our life is going to get shortened. And if you are talking about the third type of result, which is the result that affect others mainly, it is of course that if you are going to, it is called dominant result. And the dominant result is that of course that if you are going to harm others, so they're going to get harmed, they're going to get unhappy, they're going to have problems. So this is the third type of result, which is mainly connected to how our actions affect on the environment.
Tete leki goni pe ching rawo chigre ta ngak goni pe chingre china so ba ji chin che den keti so we chet mi jan no mano ta tandi la sawlo ta machine ni kya za tango ko tan dra manda chegre tandi che wala te ni yon nan men jin rew na chama nga son ran ro ta sen de la so ngor ko mombo te ya ta so ta mel kya za mombo she te na ji ma so yan lam ro ma jin kya za mombo she ya tandi te ko re so re te jam tan jin rew ni pa tare samba da pun rew na te mala no ki go re ma jam bala no ki wa te le ka te nge che ka nge te ma jam bal che go re te le da pun rew zeni te le yan kya za ta o she na yan na rew som she go re.
Any débutant peut-être? Okay. Yes, and if we're talking about about kind of the verbal actions that we are doing out of the self-cherishing mind. So there are as well there are 3 results for our physical actions, as we said, the ripened result, the result which is similar to its cause, and the dominant result. So we can also put this example with the kind of verbal actions that we have. So again, if we are talking from the Buddhist perspective, so the ripened result will be that we are going to get rebirth in lower realms. This is from the Buddhist perspective. And if you are talking about the second type of result which is similar to its cause, so for example, if you are talking bad to other people, if you are lying, if you don't know to control kind of words that we are saying to other people, so eventually a lot of people are going to fool us, they're going to lie to us, and so forth. So this is the result which is similar to its cause. And also a similar in the example of the physical actions result. So the dominant result is going to be that, of course, our actions are going to harm other people.
So tani ta sem go ni sawlo tan tan china pena so chin che de pa sho ti zma nyen de ni control on it similar control ke ta control ro ke na yan je so chi pare ta nan man jin je che ma nga son le ke wa ta gen tin jin je ha ko ra control on de ti control on de ni to so le pare shi semba marketing ro ni cha sing par ni ga na sa pa na san ra ma ra pa yo so pol ka ngi che on so ha ko de atre ani da pun je che na Mijik Tama, Kiponrote, Chini de the Mystic control on the Tama, Mikipazo Japanoa, what did Dapunjo the Wari, and the control Chilana, and there was some she water.
Yeah, so we talked about the result of the physical action and the verbal action. Now we're going to talk about the result of kind of negative mental actions that come out of the self-cherishing mind. So we can give, for example, the result of anger, like what happens like when we get anger out of like really cherishing my, like I, and so forth. So the results are the same. They're like the ripened result, the result which is similar to its cause, and the dominant result. So again, the ripened result is going to be that we're going to take rebirth in lower realms. The result which is similar to its cause is that we are going to be unhappy and unwell, both physically and both mentally. Our mind is going to be unhappy, like we're going to get sad, or like we're going to get disturbed, and so forth. As for the physical aspect, so by getting angry, our blood pressure is going to get high, like we're going to have all sorts of kind of diseases, like heart disease and so forth. And yeah, this is the result which is similar to its cause. And if we're talking about the dominant result, so the dominant result is going to be that since we are getting angry, all the other people around us are not going to be happy, they're not going to feel comfortable, and so forth. So this is the result that come out of the mental actions which are driven by the self-cherishing mind.
Laso tani ta li ta nga ta pena rang chin se chewa tani li ta nga ta yi ki ko ni kyo yon tong persam sheware persam tsama to te tse mari nga ko li ki ko ni so chopa tsama imba ka ya wala so pe chopa maro mo nga ko ni ni paru restriction ya wala so pa yi ki ko ni ta tra to ta nga ya la so kan ra man ra mo bo chik ta tsama ta so so tsa wa chen bo che tani yong yo re mo so so tani sa che mo ma che ni jen chin se che na tani ko chopa maro ta so yong mari.
Yeah, so we presented all like this kind of the three types of action and the result of them. So the result of the type of action through the physical, and through the type of action by verbal, like by speech, and by the type of action by mental. So we presented like examples of each kind of we can say door, like field of actions, like and the result of them. So
tani ta teli doctor ja chin ze chena so so le pengre ta ja le pengre de ja chin ze chena so so yang ke boyong re ja yang ke boyong ran de ro ke zya ta chakare zeni chul ke te she gore.
Yes, so I forgot to translate, is that yeah, by and all of these kind of actions, it's all come from the self-cherishing mind, like all these kind of negative actions that we have. This is all come of the self-cherishing mind. By this, all the physical, verbal, and mental negative actions, they come. But that's the opposite way, like if we practice the other cherishing mind, it's going to make both us and others happy, like if we're talking from Buddhist perspective and in general.
So tani pen ra chi jana pen na jan chi ban zan de ni chi na jang ka ngen ri chi yona parchen chi kan ng tong bu jimba te so nam tang go mari panjo ka kan yona kar ka kan yona kol ro pa che to kan to ko ni ro pa che gri tan chi cha la tani jimba zya ta na kar pan gre zi ti wo mo le ko jimbi long kyo chen ki de son bari jimbi long kyo jimba so so jimba ta na so so le che chama le long kyo ya pon chong ta nar men gen tan ri yong gres ani jimba ta na chen del ya panjo to so ka nga me sa ga gen tan gen yong gres ani jimba ta na ma je le pen to ga da pun che ne yong ai im bara sal ka ne yo sa yin na tel pen to ga tel ge chong ni an je sam yo res te ma se te ya tartigli ya she na tra yun je zi tam tarba ta tam che jimba tan ri ge la yan ro res
naming to te
It's a mal long chimbo chat and Jungres. Tan jumping into the same the Panjo can mean Gil Rogres. Ta Dapun Josia to Jambal Pentokora, Jimbat and the Tichina.
Using it about the Sedila, the long chalapin.
No, Dapun jumping Gentambat. Jambal Ropache, Tenisos, Leatanjicang. The Mel Ropache, they need the Soso Gang Leon, the Soso Ropache, Mombo Leon, not the shady.
Yes, okay, so yeah, if we have like this kind of other cherishing attitude, so when others going to get in problems, so we'll be able to be efficient and help them. So we can also talk about this like from the perspective of what we call the 6 perfections, or the 6 far-reaching attitudes. So the first of them is what we call the generosity. So if other, for example, like doesn't have, like if he is needed, like in terms of money or like whatever it is, so if you're going to help them, so there are going to be so much benefits. And we can also apply the same kind of process of like the 3 results that we presented in the other way, like when we have like this self-cherishing mind and like the results that come out of it. So just like this, so if you're going to be generous like to other people, so by the other cherishing mind, so the ripened result, the first type of result is going to be that in the next life we're going to have like we're going to have abundance and the financial situation of us will be good. If we're talking about the result which is similar to its cause, so the result is going to be that if you are going to get in trouble, so people will help us in terms of financial situation and so forth. And if you are talking about the last type of result, which is the dominant result, so since like we are generous and we give to other people like what we have, so they are going to be happy and it's going to help them.
Sonsa tani ni pa tsatum go nyamlen je ta je chinze chingo na tsatum nyamlen ji kares tsatum nyamlen ji na kar che riziti ko je chi sonsa tsatum nyamlen ji ton kar riziti pe na so cho pa ta kya ze she pa ta kama ja wala so pe linga yesa ko choba marab samal ji kamaris jambala non jogri samgra ko jambala sewa yo sonsa jambala non jogri sam tani so mache pa ta o chigli che na ya so ma che na so tsering bo yo wa ta kya chima denro li ya ki wi ki kenro wa ta ani so ma che pa la tani pa so sem chen ta so ya denro chi na so le ga po che wa tani ri ta ta ma ta se na pan ya po che on di se ya po che ya gen wa tani re wa ta so yung yo re se wo re.
Okay, yeah, so then we can talk about like the second type of perfection, which is the ethical discipline. So what is the way in which we are engaging in the ethical discipline? So since we care about others, like we have this other cherishing mind like towards others, so we're going to want not to harm them because we have love for others. And since we have love for others, so we're going to try not to harm them by refraining from different type of actions such as killing, stealing, telling lies, and so forth. So also like by these kind of actions, so the results are going to be positive as well. Like in the next life, we're going to gain rebirth like in higher realms, like it means in the Buddhist philosophy, like there are like different types of realms, like there's not only the human realm, but in general, like we're going to get good rebirth, like it can be human or like in body and mind, which are considered to be positive. So this is like this, and also people are not going to harm us and our environment is going to be happy. So these are the result of guarding the ethical discipline.
Also, dann Bachetini Saru. Tam do Sedina Karze, Jean Chinzena, Jambote Yapochiti Chato, Jean Tesmandrina control, Ani Nargertan, Ani Pashochi Guachin and Dopandro, Tento, Gemachapaga, Nangasim, Soso Kanazuki, same to Gemachapaleungre, Docha, control, Narger Mar Segore. That's what some at the Soso Tavachimbuina, that's so Marin Dori, that's so Mariruna Soso Kanichiri.
Yes, and if we have the self-cherishing attitude, so all of these problems, like these mental problems, such as like being jealousy, being like having hatred, like having this kind of this kind of arrogant attitude, so they're just going to increase and increase and increase, and it's just going to make us more unhappy.
Jachinze Chedeni Teli Dote, Jachinze Cheni is Najambal Tsupazavani Nizamar, Kojambal, Stewa Yosonsa Kotel Tsupazamar, Nipat Jamba Yapochin and Chatoke Umari, then Nanja Jambal, Najan Jesem Gotin, Dopata, Tendil Legumari, Tendichi on the Soso Sem the Majiri Jirin, Nanga Sem the Tacholoco Chaki and Nitata, Chantri on the Soso Deshki Dambi Mases Kia, you are Tendishore.
Yes, and also if you're talking from the other side, from the other cherishing attitude, so if you're going to have the other cherishing attitude, so we are not going to have all these kind of mental states such as like competitiveness, like being jealous for others, like wanting to harm others, and so forth. And our mind is just going to be more peaceful, more peaceful, more peaceful. And like the outer conditions are going to fit like to the inner kind of mind. And therefore it's going to bring us only happiness.
That's what Sonsa, Moni non it's a Saulo Tanichik Saulo Chitan, the non Saulo Tanton Goni non social dekichit up and do telling Yamyash that Tende or Chaloco Chaki and Gorita, Nanga Saulo Tonzia Pochitona, Masiki Pokia, Tende Yunguri.
Yes, and also like we should examine like with ourselves, like whether like by depending on the method, like on the inner method, by kind of transforming the way that we are thinking, whether it's going to bring us happiness or not. And we can say that if you are going to depend on like the positive way of thinking in terms of like cherishing others, it's definitely going to bring us happiness.
So tani tonda karan trace one of Tama the partial significant yimba so when is similar to the jet or to the like Johnny make on the Tani Saulo down that any so gang all mats and rogre. Chigu gang and dodging on the partial Nikion Rematon so Saulo non Johnny may not share ni so when you join the Zimaton at any gang cherry in rogre.
Yes, and also like when like kind of things happen in our life and like people like can act in a certain way that we think that the problems is only theirs and there's nothing like wrong with us and so forth. If we have this kind of attitude that we cannot identify that we have problems within ourselves, it's going to bring so many problems.
Yes,
so kind of like the class is finished, so if you have like different type of questions, so you can ask now.
So in Buddhism, there is a saying that all sentient being is our mother. So can Geshe explain this to us?
Yes. Anite nacho inanola anite sentient nacho nacho mar. Anite korla keran deshe gyapro na
Lasa ta nachu na le sentient ta mai zia the country saulo tang yo residing atso kyo nga chikele de ora kyo nga chite kyo ndi kyo at the ya yo ren the maya yo resin ya teni jona yong chi yo mares kyo tranlin di pallong din sam sam nga so pa ma kyo le yo re sam sam pa ma kyo sam sam dal kyo re sam sam la nyel kyo re the ko ra ja saulo chi ta na nga so semcha sei na nga so amache ma nyo ke chi tsawa ni yo mares yo sonza gemsa tel saulo ta semcha tam cha ma saulo ta ya te tere.
Yes, so from the Buddhist perspective, so we accept the past and future life. So since we accept the past and future lives, we kind of do so many circles in terms of like the rebirths that we took like in our life. So we can say that like we've been like enemies, we've been friends, we've been mothers, we've been fathers, and so forth. Like we kind of played every kind of role like in this, like in the rebirths that we took. So since like we, how should I say?
We all get chance to be as a mother once, out of so many cycles. So to that point of view, we told that we all as a mother.
Yeah, so this is the reason like why we think like in Buddhism that like all sentient beings have been our mothers, because like we took rebirths so many times, so we cannot say that at some points like we don't kind of met. I have never been like mother, like he's never been my mother and so forth, because
the other life, what you have been in the previous life?
You're asking specifically Geshe or like in you're asking like in general? Okay.
כאילו בגלגול הבא, אז אתה יודע כאילו מה יקרה בגלגול הקודם?
מי יודע כאילו?
בן אדם יודע מה הוא היה בגלגול הקודם כאילו.
באופן כללי, כאילו לא ספציפית גשר.
ואם אתה לא יודע, אז מה זה משנה שבגלגול הבא תהיה כאילו משהו לא טוב, אם אתה לא מודע לזה?
Okay. So the question was like whether you know that in the next life, like you know like what kind of rebirth like you're going to take. And if you don't know, so what does it matter? Like, because if you don't know like that in next life, like you're going to take this rebirth or this rebirth, so what does it matter for you, right? This. אני סוסו, תצ'ימה, אמנצים גומה, אני סוסו תקיוע קרלן יום, קרלן יין, סוסו שינגי אורפה, תטנקו. אני תצ'ימה, אני נת קיוע קרלן יין, מין גם משנה, אני נת אנג'לו קרלת, נת שגו פגימצים קרלת.
te tombo te ta na chu na ni chena ta nga zo khata ko yo maro tez ka por ta chik tel sangye son du zin nga zo sangye le che chi che go ke wa nga ma ta chima du zin te chima ke wa chima ta nga ma yo ya ta nga zo ha ko yo son sa sangye son yo za sangye son jamba zo ye che che yo son sa ten rik du zi chi gri ni ba ta nga zo na shi ze ya te zikchen chi re men du zi Gyuntuni mandron ke chigri ja nafshi me pa chama do nafshi me pa chama so nga so pombo jena ya nafshi chimandro ja so ta rikpa yo na me no te chigri kiwa chima yo sares te na je kiwa nga mani le yo sares ni pater sombatel kiwa nga ch trende ni mombo chi ore mombo trende go so te yore ma to me na chen ya je chiwo mares ti kimse sam le te ni kiwa nga ch yo pa te tandi sa lo tangore mo nga nga ndri chi nga ro yo pa ha ko re zi tandi nga ro ko me ja mi yo ta sangye ke ko son yore te ta ra nga so yin chi che yore ton jo tombo lende te
Okay, so as for the first question, so like there are kind of 3 different kind of reasons in order to establish like next life or like past life. So the first one is that first of all, like we don't know, like we cannot know for ourselves, like for sure in terms of by not depending on like what Buddha said, like that Buddha said like that there is like next life and there is next life and previous life. So by depending on his words and like his teaching, so people can generate like a sense of faith or like a sense of belief that it is something which is true, since we don't have like kind of direct knowledge about it. So this is the first one. The second one is that we can say that the mental consciousness is not kind of physical entity, is not physical, and therefore if like our body is going like is going to die or something like this, so it's not like that the mental consciousness is also that there is any necessity this is going to stop, since it's not something physical. So this is the second type of reasoning. And the third type of reasoning is that there are people who actually remember, like, and they can say like what they have been in past life, like who they were, like they can actually remember in this life their past life. So these are like the 3 different types of reasoning about like past and future lives, like how you can establish it. But I think that you also asked like, correct me if I'm wrong, like what specifically what I'm going to be, right? Like
why do I need to act in this world בצורה מסוימת? אני לא יודעת אם משהו בכלל, כי זה יהיה סוג של בן אדם אחר. למה אני צריכה לחשוב על זה בתוך ההכרה שלי?
Okay, yeah, so it was like the second type of question, which is like it was like just the second type of question, like she just repeated it.
Tanita, kiwa chama tanga so yo ki tama chone kiwa chama tonda leka chini karche kore tel saulo tani karche kore zeatro. Ta karse kiwa chama te yo ko na nga so saulo tango eta ko achire. Pe na nga so gengo chama changa so ha ko mar. Tanga so gengo chama so na karche zini tani saulo tani yal kam te so geso go pot na so leka ngozi ni so te jikandula. Mu chengi te so ga chengdo. Gengo chati nga so ta kyon che alam yal kam te so jongo ya pesha dungdo yore nga so gengo chama cha ko maro ko ma na nga so gengo cha chi yore sam nga so saulo ta ni gengo cha ti ta chi che yor de na je sani ge che te ran ta che yor de na je lo ji ma ge che te ran ta che yor lo ji ma yo me yo da sani yo me yo ta gengo yo me yo ta nga so sawani ni ko mar ko maro ko nga gengo cha kare nga lo ja chel de gre zina nga so sawani ni ko ma yena ya te yo pala karze yon se pa chi yeson sa na so tsama ta ri che wor kar se te ta na je kiwa chima par che yo se pa tan ri che le yon de nga so tel ta ri che go ndo kiwa ndal ta ri che go na je kiwa chima ta ri che phombo je ni jo ri le na shi chi pare ngai ha ko na ri ma ko na ri ni kiwa chima ti dung yon na ya ko yo ma so sa tel de che chi yon che na so ta ri che go re se te la de.
Okay, so as for the second type of question, like why should I kind of do things in this life in order like for next life, right? Like it was the type of question. So so just like we can also think about it like in terms of this life, for example, like as for tomorrow, as for next year, as whether we are going to get old or not, like these things are uncertain. Like we don't know if we are going to live tomorrow, we don't know if we are going to live like in next year. Also, we don't know if we are going to get old, like, or that we are going to die soon. Like, I think that this is the meaning. But even though we don't know it, so we still make preparations for it, right? Like, we still prepare ourselves for like the day that we might get old by, for example, like getting like money from the government to the time that I'll get old and so forth, and like preparations for tomorrow, for next year, and so forth. So we make a lot of plans because we know that we want to kind of ensure that our future is going to be okay. So the same way, like if there is like next life, so of course like that we need to think about it, because if there is next life, so there is the mental consciousness that our mental consciousness is going to go like to this next life. And if our mental consciousness is going to go to the next life, so based on like what we are doing, so it's going to suffer, it's going to gain happiness and so forth. So in order to have like like kind of good conditions like in next life, so we need to prepare like from now.
Ngi kiwa shima yin song sang ngi par tangi ngi kuku re samni ta na chui china te te ngi karna kali kiwa shima ta chama ni yarin ro ayore kasi ngi ma kani du po de kiwa china kiwa shima ta kangi na ma lori ro re song sang te ngi kuku re sini te shi ju senti
So so if we are talking from the Buddhist perspective, so since there is next life, so I need to kind of take a certain responsibility and to prepare myself like for this kind of time. So if I'm going to prepare myself well, so it's like a next life, so they're just going to get better and better and better. But if I won't take responsibility and I won't do nothing and won't prepare about it, so the next life are just going to get worse and worse and worse.
So, ini dah ciri. Siapa try?
Ani, actually, this one result of 3 doors. That first result of 3 doors. All are if we lie, if we kill somebody, and another one. Okay. For the body, we killing, and for the verbal, lie, and for the intention, very bad intention. Suppose these 3 results is going to the hell, right?
For the first result.
Then what I want to ask is that what kind of level of lies I suppose what kind of, and also what kind of bad intention kind of intention we're supposed to go to.
That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Ani te kerangi te lunga isungi gone, ani te sote ranchizing ikune lang te chawing pachena, ani te depo karehine kerante deshe nansong. Ani te depo tampu te nawingi depo patene, ani te so sun rere ani chapa latene, eta garante nyansola te dragi depo yore. Ani perna ngagi gone ta igi gone. Ani ngagi gone perna kyak zunshe. Emana te igi gone perna controlan. Ani te so karunchena ani perna te shuk kandes cellula tene.
Jaze chile katedrosina.
I was about.
Nyawal ndogore te imbe. Ate kirtan kur ngo chani chena zunshi ata jekin nyawal ndoya jekire la war. Yang chechong teni tel topshi pashong go korta no semchala no pa chechong teni topshi chechong ro gira. Ina te so ngandro do jekire reze gore mong tu yinching mechi jim kya chama ta ngandro do jagre zine telingi pa yomar. Tel yam tonchu nyongir kini nyongir nandra jala nyongir zini mobo shayor. Gashi tsendel narman mandro ayor. Yang shini kya chama mandro ayor. Yang shani kya mobo jil me ayor. Yang gashi peti nyembo topshi ga tani chunin jo dingar nyomogo atendri ayor hojenza shegor.
So in general, like by kind of cultivating or like by accumulating this kind of causes of like lying or like having like bad motivation, there is no provision or necessity that you're going to go to lower wins. Like, and also like this kind of results, like it's possible that they're going to be ripened like in this very life. It's possible that they're going to be ripened like in the next life, and also like in the other like many next life that. But if, for example, we are applying the kind of what we call the 4 antidotes, like this is kind of antidotes that purify like the negatives that we did, so there is no necessity that we are going to have to kind of to experience the result of the ripened result, the first type of result that we just told. If you are going to purify this kind of the negativities that we accumulated. Yeah.
בבודהיזם מדברים על attachment, שכאילו אסור attachment, גם לא לדברים, גם לא לאנשים. רציתי לשאול לגבי לא לזרים, לא שכל הבודהיסטים מזרים, מה כאילו, איך זה לגבי מערכות יחסים וחתונה נגיד, כאילו איך עובד העניין של לא להיות ב-attachment עם מישהו שכאילו איך עובדת חתונה בודהיסטית.
Okay. So so the question is that in Buddhism it says that it's not allowed like to have attachment. And if you are not talking about monks, if you are talking about lay persons, so how does it work? Like, for example, how people can be together, like regarding like this sense of like that we cannot have attachment, and how people can get married, how like we can say like how Buddhist marriage, like how does it look like, and so forth. So this is the question, right? Alltså han inte nacho immunishana te chakpakya yonresa. Ani te perna te chapa parsha. Ina te natso mikya nashi. Ani te natso mikya nashi. Ani te chakpakandes makiwa chetu gire. Perna natso te humo tam humo delam chegire. Yan te chansa gabire. Ani yan te nangpe chansa kandidapo yongire te.
Kitani ta chansam jam chansani nambi ta te sheo mara. Chapa ziati kitan pande gua sheo. Ina ta te panse ti li lawo chi yo mare. Kasa ngoni chapa pange china tomba ni topi shira kasa nga so she de ayo. Nyomo kanji tsawa tomba ni topi na danzere de ore. Danze panson na chan tsawa chena yarkatan lo mata me to so kamro ananje. Danzen ta panso sunan do chata control ta ngarke ta temula so ba koro ranjin gume pa chanro rezo. Tomato, and do chacham by you may pursue jag, talam chick, musica por it is and go near talam. Sonza, a petty savani pangona, tombani talk or it, and get an ambition chance I get my chance at a chapa unique chocomari, Samazo Gurizini, Chimdra, the Rioma, Lopart, get long with Dombas in as a trabat so Dombanon, Ling son shows they were among similar inchimichi. Chumget Geo Mari. Son to net a son show ya por Ezegora. The son Motaka seems they had the son Caposhuris. Similar diameter trains they had to cargo the Lilao Maris. Sons are take Pesotachi Gori, the Trapat Solilinga Petiopatis of Carnamanga. Semgoni Dombazia Mirian, Dombayan, Turin, Chancho Sepitumba, Nangapano, Dombalia Leon, and the same Gongola. The Chiang Sons that had no Sedina. Karsa pangonet and the dancing goni, dancing me bazoni panter. Temen anachunani tip, Savanini, Tendi Chapat, Samazo, Gori, Tamamazo, the Kunin Chikumari, Tendi, or Ranson Yomari, Choi Imbaro.
Okay, yeah, so first thing is that it's important to know there is no such kind of a rule about, not about like that I must not have attachment in terms of like that it's not allowed like having attachment, and there is also no such a rule. If you don't understand, so you can tell me, then I can explain in Hebrew maybe. But there is also no such a rule like with regards that I cannot get married or something like this, like in Buddhism in general. But yeah, if we do want to kind of abandon or to eliminate the what we call attachment, so we have to apply the antidote for it. And the antidote is the antidote for the cause of the attachment. From the Buddhist perspective, the cause of the attachment is the ignorance, or like the self-grasping mind. So the antidote for the self-grasping mind is what we call the wisdom, which realizes emptiness, like which realizes selflessness. So just like that there is a tree and we just uproot it from its roots, so this is the same manner that the wisdom realizes emptiness, antidotes the self-grasping attitude from which the attachment arises. But also for monks, like they have like different kind of vows, like what they can do and what they cannot do, but mainly like on a basic level, it engages mainly like with the body and speech, like what they are allowed to do and not. But there is no like kind of such a very, very kind of full or low, like with regards to what they have to do with their mind or not. Things like kind of guarding the activities of the mind becomes very, very difficult. So yeah, there's no such a rule like that. It is not allowed by law or something like this to generate attachment. But of course, that if you want to abandon it, like, and if you want to try to try to work with it, it's very good, and there are methods for it.
Tanda kirtani chapazia the panta li lao chuni o maritele teni domba ina jumba mambo tete di sheori ta chapa korongo nyembo gomdala na bjanga so mala chapa tanda popo mozia teni chapa yora tele merdu ba gomya shi sheori pa shota pe gomjani pe ti jipa zo jachi teni de sing tona ta ku na lin tona ta ji go chum sing tona mena tele se kan chapa ki mara teni zo ni chapa zenga jia ta lam chi sheori tak goti zawani me paso gona tanda tomba ni top shira trete mani kati le zenga chini tam manda chil na gabo chi manda sem kama to ni tanda gabo ma ona ya ta sana pa sho ta ri gonda o tin ri gomna kati chapa yen ro tin ri shiori.
Yeah, so if you're talking about like if you're talking about abandoning or like eliminating attachment, this is very, very difficult. This is not something which is easy at all. But if you're talking about kind of an antidote which is appropriate for attachment, so we can also like think about attachment in this sense, about attachment that, like for example, boy have to girl or girl have to boy, like this kind of attachment. So if you want to put antidote to this kind of attachment, what we can do is using such a method by looking the other people as bones, like as kind of being composed of bones, like looking like bones. So if you're going to imagine, like we're going to perceive the people that in front of us that we have usually attachment towards, and we are going to perceive it like it's just like kind of pile of bones or whatever. So very naturally we are going to lose the sense of attachment because no one is being attached to bones. So this is about the direct antidote, like the antidote to attachment. But also, as we said before, like attachment comes from the self-grasping mind. The self-grasping mind, the ignorant mind. So also like by applying the antidote of wisdom that realizes emptiness. So since we are going to, by this kind of antidote, to eradicate or to eliminate the cause of the attachment, which is the self-grasping mind, so as well attachment is also going to fade away. So these are the two kind of antidotes.
Satin ja
Ramji landed
ai bara
my son's.
ra
I would tell her some
Is it?
relevant to this. What I felt when, for myself experience, okay, when I, when I see something, then suppose one person, I think, wow, it's great, I feel at first time maybe, right? But it may think that it is not okay to the nuns and monks, right? But we are not, right now, we are not completely purified also, right? So of course we have a little sense of that, right? So that when I see somebody, then I realize my own body, okay? My own body quality is same as that fellow body, right? That fellow body has suffering, anger, hatred, jealousy, all negativities which I have, same like that body also have, right? Outer is beautiful, smart, but inner same. So that by thinking that, that will reduce my, attachment or liking reduce automatically. Really. Because if suppose that fellow didn't have a very special quality which I don't have, suppose very purified soul, I may be attached. Really, I will tell true, really. Otherwise, there is no point to attach. Because my own body I don't like. Really? We have little happiness, more suffering. Right? More suffering, really. Sometimes out of jealousy, out of anger, hatred. The little words, very difficult to digest. Actually, just a word, but it hurts our heart, right? So, by thinking like that, I think we have to compare with our own body and with experience. Then we can see another body. That another body has same quality, then What are we attached for?
That's a mission.
Just think. Really. When I see the His Holiness, suppose I see the His Holiness, of course I admire, really admire. He completely purified his soul. He just show as a body like human being, right? Totally extraordinary. So that I really, that time I can't say that I, attached in a sense, but I have very admired, I really dedicate my soul like that. I want to be like him, not another anyone. Because others may have better than me, but same quality still, right? Then we think like that. Then I think somebody so much attached to somebody means I wonder how it comes. Really, I think how it comes. Because each and every of us have an ability to utilize our mind and in a creative way. Also, we can experience it to our own body, right? There are three kinds of suffering, they all exist within our body. Same like that, fellow beings. Then we have to attach. Really, we have to attach. Then you analyze more means our body consists of bone, cartilage, flesh, meat, and then others, right? Operate means same only. Nothing special found in another body. Then we have to attach Very it's hard. Sometimes we attach to our own body also wonder, okay. Where I attach to, if I disintegrate every part, then where I attach to, that also comes. Then, suppose my own self is like that, means of course mother have no question. Very same quality. Where we are grasping for. Yeah, we have to utilize, really. We should not go under the emotional, okay? We females have more emotional sense. Really. That's why, what I wonder is that we have a strong sense of patience as compared to the boys, I think, really. So that we have to utilize our mind, especially at taking a big decision, that time we should not miss our emotions. We have to go with love.
Is love not possible without attachment, like loving my family, it's not have
No. It's no. You can love your family, but you should not love that much that you can't see the other thing. Because that is not okay, right? I can love my family, but I should not disrespect others as if I can't see. If something matter happens, means I should look in a middle pathway. Should not extreme side, okay? Suppose my sister make mistake, means I should not stand her blindly, okay? I should see the matter, what my sister done before I shout with somebody. That I think. We have to go with the logic and fearful way. Right? Of course we love our family. I also love my family. I used to say to my sister also, you should be honest. Otherwise I'm not next to you. That's clever. Really? That's true. If I stand against somebody who is honest and my sister is dishonest, means I'm not okay to stand next to her, right? In any kind of situation, really. That's the thing.
That's the leadership.
Usually I mentioned that 6 rounds.
Six
rounds. Like a human animal. And 1 round is like God round. So what is the difference between a God round and like Amitabha Pure Land and also the enlightenment? What's the difference with these three?
Okay. I can draw it to be the sequence also. And the Permata, the Chanakeyo, the Sangi Papa, and that's soon the Kever career. Kenya?
Last. Tombo Lata, George Chicken and Gulhazi de Atranre. Then Korean in Senior by the Orinatsu late on Yomungo Kora Jamnikesa and Kora in Sons. Koro Chicken on the Yashonda or Mugaki, Chanichina, and so Dingerly matters such as it's a war. No, then Tani Mayan Junior Malay or Korajan. sonza tin Korean ni ran tsigyori tat
Yeah, so for example, if you're talking about God, so it is just like any samsaric being, like in terms of like, it's also like under the karma and afflictions, under the power of karma and afflictions, and also eventually it's going to go to eventually to lower realms.
아니 상계의 장세 대하트 나추고 나니시나 타마사기나 단다 자메 그담 람체나 통람제야지오라 든지 야마토 자메 그 콤포치 마톰나 jinkamda sol kia meze de gor jinga kar deachandil la tombo sanje jinkamda de shijigra sanje jinkamda la ta zapa me bi kompon papa kompondre tindi to ma son parte azo mekuma chindro me pa tombo shuchi tsigur papa zeat tonlam ba yan chodra zame ku topa ma ni parte sanje jinkamda par chindro me pa shigur last linda dewa chandang Geshe lokachi gyap obo sanje jinkam ta tatanda layer ta sanje jinda dewa changi jinda sam gu chapar shela sanje kompon ya ale sanje kompon se diata ngaso nyamle chewala tin ngaso kangi cheata la ni yore zor nyomo bi chapaziti tanda saulo dikata zori shiji chapaziti ngaso komshik dikata zori komshik dikata saulo dikata sama zo sati tani sama sankyang samlo chi ma to la ko mari ze wori te samlo tel namki la wori namki ziyad top sonani sangi komboto var kanta komshik dikata samlo dikata samat zawani ni me bazo top sona tani sangi komboto mur
konshi do da nyendi
konshi do to shidov parchal ja qora
okay, and it's for the enlightenment. So enlightenment is like only if one is really kind of eliminate like very like from the core like all the what we call the afflictive obscuration and the cognitive obscuration. The afflictive obscuration, which is like all our kind of bad way of thinking and so forth, like all of like the bad attitudes and so forth, and the cognitive obscurations, like all the kind of the bad habits or like bad habitual tendencies and so forth. So only when one really eliminates, like really like kind of clears, like removes from his mind like this kind of two different types of obscurations, only then he reaches the enlightenment.
Last tani dewa chankajin comes at the sheso nindu dewa chankajin comes at the lonkijin comes thingy chiori lonkijin comes in at and now chance papa lonk chukka lonk tangoni kaze kasam lonk vision come in tanda chance se papa mato yo ma zame ku kompoton ke mato ngatso njawo chi tijin kam dal njoto gumare tel sheso nindu lonkijin come in zeni chi.
So as for the what you said, like the pure land, right, of like Amitabh. Okay, as for the pure land, so there are like kind of two different kind of explanations. So the first type of explanation is the pure land, which only people who are like what we call Aryas in terms of like they reach the stage like the path of seeing, like only when they reach like this kind of stage, they can kind of reach this pure land. We call this I don't know really now how to translate it in English, but maybe after I'll tell you like the exact name. But basically it means like the land that only like those who achieve like the achievement of the path of seeing, they can reach there.
Yang sheso jamba chile tate sheso chimbo niresha kashi gizena chirko vision kam yin lawar long vision kamare chirko vision kam yin yang topan tombo shira gomar molam ya poja semcha le ta pas ta sanrichi na keto sa dewa changijin kam le keto rezini chirko vision kam rezini sheso chiyor sonza dewa changijin kam de ngonze che ta jont so na la ani chi le ndu chirko vision kam yin ya long vision kam yin long vision kam yin ta kishi ana jir chirko vision kam yin na so molam jamna.
Okay, so I'll tell now the names. So the first one, I guess we said like only when one like reaches like the achievement of Arya, like or the path of seeing. So then he can, go to the what we call the pure land of the Sambhogakaya, the body of enjoyment, the pure land of the body of enjoyment. So then you can reach that. But there's also like another version in the Buddhist scriptures, which is that like just by praying, so you can go to you can reach the pure land of the Nirmanakaya, the pure land of the I don't remember in English, sorry, like the pure land of the Nirmanakaya. So this is like the second type of version, that you don't have to be like Arya or like reaching like this kind of achievement, like the former one, but just by praying, like dependent on praying, so you can reach there.
אז תתחיל לו. שכינדה.
Okay, so
ריסרו.
is it okay?
אני שכינדה.
Okay, so we'll wrap it off now.